What if one of history's greatest empires was brought to its knees by trees? No, not those trees or those trees. This story is about a forest that devoured an empire. It's about Rome and its legions lost in Teutoburg. This is the 16th episode of our series on the fall of Rome. In this series, we tell the stories behind the decline of the Roman Empire. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episode. The year is 09 I. A small Roman force, 2,000 to 3,000 men, is marching through a dense forest in northern Germany. Their objective: reach the Arthridish tribe and force them to leave their forested homeland. The Romans have been pushed back from their goal by heavy rains and bad terrain. And worst of all, they are low on food. They have enough to last for only 3 days. While the Roman army is suffering, their general Publius Quinctilius Varus is consumed with thoughts of glory. He wants to complete his Germania campaign before the spring thaw. So he ignores the pleas of his more cautious officers, like the experienced Marcus Lollius, who tells him to wait out the winter and resume the campaign in the spring. Instead, Varus decides to press on. As the forest-weary troops trudge ahead, they find themselves in a dark and narrow gorge. The trees here are so thick that not even a bird can fly through. It is here that Varus makes camp for the night. He sends out patrols to keep watch while the men sleep, but no one could have predicted what happened next. Around midnight, 3 Germanic tribes, the Chatti, Carusi, and Neradi, attack the camp. As the men sleep, these tribesmen are led by a chieftain named Arminius, who has been fighting against Rome for years. One of his warriors will later recount the events of that night. The enemy approached in complete silence and suddenly attacked the camp at the narrowest point. At the same time, the enemy set fire to the huts. Thus, there was no way of escape. Many were killed at their posts, others burned to death in the huts. All the weapons were taken from those who fell. Rome had suffered defeats before, but never a defeat like this. 9 Roman legions, along with auxiliary forces and their commanders, all wiped out by Germanic tribesmen in the middle of a forest. What was supposed to be a campaign to subdue the Germanic tribes had turned into a massacre. But why did Rome lose so badly that night? We can see 3 reasons. First, Rome underestimated their enemies, the Germanic tribes. Though Rome had fought against these tribes before, they thought that the heavy rains and impassable roads made any large-scale offensive impossible. So they let their guard down. Second, the officers didn't know the forest. They made camp in a tight gorge where the trees were so thick that it made defense impossible. Lastly, Rome was exhausted and hungry. The men had been on the road for too long, and their supplies were running low. Arminius would go on to lead the Germanic tribes to further victories against Rome, cementing his place in history as the man who defeated Rome in the Teutoburg Forest. Afterward, Rome tried to invade Germania again, but they never pushed deep into the forest. The Emperor Caligula even ordered a road to be built to avoid the troublesome woods altogether. You might think that the loss of a few legions in a barbarian forest wouldn't be a big deal, but it was. You see, Rome was already feeling the strain of their far-flung empire. The legions that were lost in Teutoburg represented around 20% of Rome's total military strength. Losing that many men in one battle was a severe blow. The historian Suetonius gives us some numbers to work with. According to him, there were 34,000 soldiers in all 9 legions. Though the number of auxiliaries is unknown, this means that around 8,000 Romans died that night. To put that in perspective, Rome had around 4 million people living in their empire. 4 million. So the death of 8,000 men in one night isn't that impressive. However, the effect that this battle had on the Roman psyche was immeasurable. The men who survived Teutoburg returned home and told tales of the forest that ate men alive. Rome would never forget that. In the wake of Teutoburg, the emperors grew more cautious and refused to risk another defeat in Germania. They diverted legions away from the military campaigns in Germania to defend the more settled parts of the empire. This meant that when the real trouble started, Rome wasn't prepared to fight. To see how Rome fared in the civil wars that followed, check out our episode on the Year of the Four Emperors. Many of you have been sending us messages asking us to make merch. We're working on it, guys. We've just been really busy. Don't worry, we'll make it happen. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and leave a comment below with your ideas for future videos. Remember to check out our new podcast. Thanks.